So for the last 12-18 months, Wi-Fi 7 wireless devices and routers have been pretty much exploding onto the market, all promising the insane speeds that Wi-Fi 7 is able to offer. But this here may just be one of the most powerful consumer Wi-Fi 7 routers, and hardly anybody's talking about it. Hey folks, Simon here from Simon's Reviews. Today we're taking a look at the LTC Velo7 Max router, quite possibly the most powerful and future-proof consumer router of 2025. And full disclosure, LTC did send this over to me for testing. Today we're going to be talking about who this router is for, what it excels at, and in my opinion, some things that still could have been done a little bit better. But the TLDR is there is no doubt about it, this thing is a monster, an absolute beast. From its Wi-Fi 7 performance to its 10 gigabit LAN ports, its gaming latency and the software too, which I will get into a little bit later. But let's talk about the hardware, because this thing, as I mentioned at the start, is definitely a beefy bit of kit. Now, it's not the smallest router you'll probably ever see, but I really like the minimalistic design here, and the antenna are internal. So the width here is 23 centimeters, about 9 inches, with a height of about 10 inches or 25.5 centimeters. The great thing is the router can be wall mounted, okay? We have the holes on the back here for doing so, and it comes with the wall mounting kit directly in the box. But the Wi-Fi here is one of the areas that really shines. So this is BE 19000 class, so theoretical maximum throughput of up to 19 gigabits per second over Wi-Fi. And that's thanks to this being tri-band, of course, so we have access to the 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz and 6 gigahertz bandwidths. The channel range for the 6 gigahertz bandwidth is over 320 megahertz, doubling the bandwidth of Wi-Fi 6 and even Wi-Fi 6E. We have a 12 stream architecture here with a 4x4 MIMO per band, 4096 QAM for that higher throughput. We have 10 antennas which are strategically positioned and actually work very well. And all this is running on a quad-core CPU, 8 gigabytes of RAM plus an additional 2 gigabytes of flash memory, potentially meaning there are servers running out there that are not as powerful as this router. Let's go ahead and flip the router around, because this is where things get really interesting. So most consumer routers claim next gen performance, but then you look at the back and discover 1 gigabit ports, and honestly, that's where a lot of them start to fall apart. But the Velo7 Max, this thing is built for homes that either already have multi-gig fibre or are going to be getting it soon. You get 2 full 10 gigabit Ethernet ports, and one of these will serve as your WAN port for your internet connection and the second for a LAN port. So if you've got 2, 5 or even 10 gigabit broadband coming in, this router is going to be ready for it. And even if you don't, these 10 gig ports are perfect for high-speed internal networks, things such as a NAS, home lab, gaming PC, or just a general creator workflow where you're moving huge video files around. But then you've got 4 additional 1 gigabit LAN ports, which is great for consoles, TVs, smart hubs, pretty much anything you want to keep wired for that maximum stability. And on top of this, the router includes these 2 USB 3 ports, which is something we're seeing less and less of on modern routers. And with these, you can turn the Velo7 Max into a basic NAS server, run backups, host media libraries, or share drives across your entire network. Combine that with the built-in security suite and OpenWRT, and suddenly this router is doing the job of multiple devices. It's built for real multi-gig performance now and for where home broadband is going over the next few years. But what about the actual Wi-Fi performance in the real world? And if you've ever had your Wi-Fi dying upstairs or when you're out in the garden, and let's be honest, which of us hasn't, then this section is for you. So the 10 antenna array that LTC have included here is going to offer wide patterns and strong penetration. And honestly, this is just going to be great, especially for those of us here in like the UK that have a lot of brick in our homes. It's actually going to handle that surprisingly well. Right now, I only have this connected up to a 1 gigabit network. The Wi-Fi with this just breezes through that. So right here outside, absolute solid brick wall on my 1 gigabit connection with the router obviously inside there. Still getting, oh, let's see if I can see that, yeah, 900 megabits, pretty much the maximum throughput I can get on this 1 gig internet service right here through a solid brick wall. So if you're in a larger property or maybe a townhouse or a multi-storey house, then this is absolutely going to be ideal. It does also have mesh capabilities, which I'll mention a little bit later on. But just in terms of its sheer raw Wi-Fi performance, the LTC Velo7 Max is going to offer you more typically stable connections than would be expected over 5 and 6 gigahertz. And thanks to some of the inbuilt features here, you do get a notably improved latency when gaming. But let's talk about the Wi-Fi 7 feature that actually changes your day-to-day experience, MLO or multi-link operation. So with older routers, your device connects to just a single band, so 2.4, 5 or 6 gigahertz, and if that band gets congested, you get lag spikes, buffering or random drops. MLO fixes this by letting your devices connect to multiple bands at the same time. It's like giving your Wi-Fi 2 or 3 lanes instead of 1. So if one slows down, the others keep the connection fast and stable, which ultimately is going to mean lower latency, smoother gaming, more reliable streaming, and far fewer interruptions. Now, you will need devices that support MLO in order to support that feature. A lot of smartphones nowadays are actually doing so, which is great. The Velo7 Max does support one-click mesh, so you can add extra units and create a single seamless network across your entire home. No more dead zones, no switching networks, just consistent performance everywhere. Something else that's really important with your router is security. So included here is an advanced firewall, some parental controls which I'll show you in a little while, device level monitoring, and both VPN server and VPN client support. So whether you want to secure your whole home network or connect back into it remotely, the tools are there for you to do just that. So let's go ahead now and actually take a look at the software, because it is a little bit of a mixed bag. The actual main LTC interface isn't the most advanced. It has all the bare essentials, as I will show you, but where this shines is what else is included here. Let's go ahead and take a look. So we have the home page here, which has a nice overview of your network information, and you can see we have our different networks laid out for us: the 2.4 gigahertz band, the 5 gigahertz and the 6 gigahertz. One thing I do like is the fact that you can enable a dedicated multi-link operation network. This is where a single Wi-Fi network will be able to broadcast over all 3 of the bands, 2.4, 5 and 6. You will need to connect to it with devices that actually support that technology. So your latest smartphones should be able to do this. And then also under Wi-Fi, we have the Wi-Fi Mesh Basic. This is actually something that's really easy to use. If you want to set up a mesh network, just tap the enable button, hit save, then you can go ahead and get a second router and connect it to the first and set up your mesh system. That means you will be able to move seamlessly between the 2 routers on the same network ID. There are a few third-party apps that you can enable. AdGuard is built directly into this router. All you need to do is enable it, and it's already got some DNS block list filters set up for you. Just hit save, and then you have network-wide ad blocking, literally with the click of a button. The Samba configuration, that's going to be useful if you plug in something into the USB port on the router, such as an external hard drive. And we also have some VPN functionality as well, with the WireGuard server and VPN server and client possibilities. Next up, we have Game Boost. So if you want to go ahead and enable OpenWRT or Lego Fast, which is third-party software. Okay, if you install this, you will need to download the app onto your phone in order to set this up, but this will help you with your latency when you are gaming. It will be able to prioritize accordingly. And then we have a whole bunch of network settings. If you want to assign any of your network devices with their own IP address, then this is where you will do that. And another neat feature is hotspot sharing. So this is going to be great in terms of a backup internet service. For example, let's say your ISP has some issues, your internet goes down. You can actually plug your smartphone directly into one of the USB ports on the router. Okay, enable the hotspot sharing, and the router will use your phone's internet service through its mobile network and then keep your network up and running. You can enable port forwarding, if that's what you want to do. And there are also some parental control options. The parental control options here are fairly limited, I will say that. So first off, make sure it's enabled, which mine was by default. You can then enable URL limits, which is effectively specific websites you want to be blocked from specific devices. But again, these are individual websites, so the router isn't like detecting the type of content that's being viewed and blocking it automatically. You would have to set those URLs yourself. And then you can set some time limits as well. So if you want certain devices to only be able to connect to the internet at certain times, then you can enable that functionality here. Now, something I think a lot of you are going to like, back on the home page here, there is actually a third-party firmware installed, the open source firmware known as OpenWRT. Some refer to it as OpenWRT. And if we go ahead and access the Lucci interface, then you can see that we can access that firmware. I have not had to install this. This is another means of changing the settings on your router. There's actually a lot more settings here than you get with the standard interface. And I won't go through all of them here because there's so many videos already on OpenWRT, and it's just really awesome that LTC have included this, as I say, straight out of the box, installed, good to go. So ultimately, the LTC Velo7 Max is aimed at who exactly? Well, obviously, if you have a fast fibre connection, 1 gigabit upwards, then you're going to want to be able to have some hardware that can handle those speeds. And while you may not yet handle 10 gigabit, if your connection is say 1, 2 or even 5 gigabit, this is going to handle it no problems whatsoever. It's going to work as soon as you plug it in. And when you do upgrade in the future, as technologies across fibre become more affordable at those high speeds, such as 10 gig, then this is still ready to go. But also for the gamers out there that need those lower latencies, the features offered here are certainly going to assist you with that. And even though this router is not limited to enthusiasts, if you are an enthusiast, thanks to the OpenWRT software, you are going to absolutely love using this. But even if you don't have the fastest fibre connection, you can still make use of the 10 gigabit port here. For example, if you have a NAS setup, maybe like me, you do video editing. However, if you are a strict casual user with no need for some of these advanced features, then the Velo7 Max is probably one you are not going to be rushing out for. So here's my honest verdict. This might actually be one of the most impressive consumer Wi-Fi 7 routers of 2025. The performance potential here is massive. Between the tri-band, Wi-Fi 7 and 10 gig port, MLO, and the impressive antenna array, it's clearly built for high-speed broadband, gaming and serious home lab setups. What really pushes it into a different category though is that it comes with OpenWRT pre-installed. If you want customization, control or advanced networking tools, this is one of the only routers that gives you all of that straight out of the box. But as with all things in life, it isn't perfect. I have to say the proprietary LTC interface is extremely limited compared to the full OpenWRT dashboard, so beginners might feel a little bit lost if they feel they need more options. And the box advertises an IoT network feature that isn't actually available. LTC told me it might come in future product versions, but it's not here in the LTC Velo7 Max today. But that said, if you want real Wi-Fi 7 power, proper 10 gig networking, and the freedom to tune your setup exactly how you like, the Velo7 Max delivers more than most big brand routers at this price point. It's not for everyone, but for the right user, it's a beast.